Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call to order the regular meeting of the City of Murfreesboro Board of Zoning Appeals, meeting for December 18th, 2025. First item on our agenda is a determination of a quorum, and with 4 of the 5 members here, we do have a quorum. I'd like to welcome our new member, Scott, here to join the board with us. Next item is the public comment section. Has anyone reached out to staff to provide any comments?
We have not had anyone reach out to staff.
Okay. Next item is a consideration of the minutes from our regular meeting from September 24th, 2025. Those minutes were provided to the board members. Are there any changes necessary to those?
No, sir.
If not, we'll take a motion and
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
second. Have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll?
Mr. Batchelor?
Aye.
Mr. Kimberly?
Abstain.
Vice Chair Halliburton?
Aye.
Chair Young?
Aye. All right, so those minutes will stand approved as written. Next, we'll move to new business, special use permits today. First one is application Z25031 by Mr. Arthur Powers, requesting a special use permit in order to construct and establish an accessory apartment in a single-family residential RS-15 zone. This is for property located at 835 River Rock Boulevard. Mr. Donovan, you review that for us.
I will. Thank you, Chair Young. So the first item before you today is for an accessory apartment at 835 River Rock. This is in Countryside Estates, Section 6, single-family residential subdivision. They are looking to add an accessory apartment to the property. On the screen in front of you, you'll be able to see the proposed plot plan. The applicant is proposing to add a just over 1,500 square foot accessory structure that will have a garage as well as a small proposed accessory apartment within it. That accessory apartment is 390 square feet, well under our 700 square foot requirement for accessory apartments. And then the remainder, 1,170 square feet, will be used for garage space. It's going to be located in the, it's on your screen, it's the lower right-hand corner. That would be the southeast corner of the property, 15 foot from the southern setback, 5 foot from the rear setback. It's approximately 72 feet from the northern side setback and 140 feet from the front property line and the front road. It's tucked behind the house, which is required of our accessory structures in general. As far as the building itself, let me pull up the elevations.
We're seeing something a little different on our screens.
Okay. If City TV could share my screen with the BZA.
There we go.
Sorry. I'll take you back to the site plan so that you can see it. As I mentioned previously, you're 14 feet from this southern side property line, approximately 72 from the northern side property line. You're at 5 feet from the rear, and then 142 feet to the front property line, which is all within our accessory structure bulk requirements. As far as the exterior of the building, what's proposed is, heavily a garage. The applicant is proposing a brick water table to match some brick that's on the bottom part of the house. The upper part of the building is proposed metal white siding. The house itself is white vinyl. You can see on the side there are 3 doors. The back door with the window on the side elevation is what's going to be facing the interior of the yard, which is the standard for accessory apartments, is they should be facing the side or the rear of the building so they're not to be highly visible from the street, which this is, being camouflaged partially by the front being a garage and where its location on the accessory structure itself. Staff has reviewed all the elements of the BZA application, general standards of applicability, as well as the accessory apartment standards of applicability. The application appears to be in good order, and staff is recommending approval of the 390 square foot accessory apartment. We are recommending several conditions. One of those is that the owner of the property for this accessory apartment unit shall occupy at least one of the dwelling units on premises, with a family member or invited guest occupying the other, and in no event shall either unit be rental to non-family members. The garage portion of the proposed accessory structure shall not be converted to or used as part of the accessory apartment. And that probably should be caveated out without further approval from this board, because it could be up to 700 square feet with approval from this board. Prior to applying for a building permit, the applicant shall complete and record the restriction on use of land document prepared by the city attorney. This is the document we use to limit that occupation to invited guests or family members. There is a condition on here to add an additional pathway from the driveway to the accessory apartment, so they're not walking through the yard there as well. And then separate utility meters or service connections included but not limited to electricity, gas, water, or sewer shall not be installed or requested for the accessory apartment. This is so we make sure it stays in its intended use and is not separately metered or served by other utilities. And then a separate mailbox or mail receptacle shall not be installed or designated for the accessory apartment. The applicant shall also obtain all necessary permits with building and codes and shall comply with all code requirements. I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. And Mr. Power is here as the applicant, and he can answer any questions as well.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan. Seems like a couple of new items on this one that we hadn't seen before, which I guess the applicant's aware of, and this one that's going to move forward with others coming along?
Yes, sir. We have had those discussions with applicants. I think the mailbox and the utility connections may have been on the last one that this board saw. We've had a recent issue and discussion amongst staff and with Mr. Tolley, felt that it's appropriate to make sure that we continue to see accessory apartments that this body approves utilized in the manner in which they are intended. And not providing separate utilities helps keep that rental potential very minimal.
Okay. And the connection between, paved connection between the...
Yes, sir. And we've asked for those on others when there's, not a clear path for somebody to get from the place to park to the building.
Okay.
I guess I have a question as kind of the newbie. What is the enforcement mechanism for the 390? And from what I can gather, it's about a quarter of the building is this accessory apartment. The remainder is a garage. I can gather that if the entire section's used as an accessory that exceeds the 700 feet, is there any follow-up or enforcement to confirm that is not being done?
Yeah, so at least initially what we have to use as enforcement is through building codes and building permits. These approvals are forwarded along to the building codes department when they're doing their initial inspections. They're checking to make sure the plans and what this board approves is followed. Typically on something that comes up after they have received a CO for it, we have a zoning officer that goes out and inspects those, does his best, working usually with Matthew and some others in our office, including myself, to take appropriate measure to resolve those if we found it to be founded. And in some cases, we don't realize it until they come in for additional permits, and then we address it when that issue's found.
Great.
And then the ultimate enforcement mechanism is we can pull the special use permit if we do find it to be in violation.
And I want to emphasize, I don't have any reason to believe Mr. Powers would do that. That was just a curiosity question.
Thank you. Any further questions for staff? Mr. Powers, anything you'd like to add to the application?
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
All right. At this time, we'll conduct a public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application? If so, if you'd come up to the stand here and give us your name and address and provide us with any comments you may have. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or motion.
If there's no questions from us, I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion approved, subject to the staff comments. I assume you want,
Yes.
no changes to those? Okay. Any further discussion? If you'd call the roll for us.
Mr. Batchelor?
Aye.
Mr. Kimberly?
Aye.
Vice Chair Halliburton?
Aye.
Chair Young?
Aye. All right, thank you. That application's been approved. Next, we'll move to another special use permit, application Z25030 by Ms. Catherine Giovannini, requesting a special use permit in order to construct and establish an accessory apartment in a single-family residential RS8 zone, and this is for property at 212 Spinelli Way. Mr. Mark Shackelford-Well, if you'll go over that for us.
Yep. Good evening, or good afternoon, Board. As you mentioned, this is for an accessory apartment at 212 Spinelli Way. It's a residentially zoned property, it's zoned RS8. The proposed structure is in the rear of the primary structure, and it does seem to fall in line with what we need for our accessory structures. It is 81 feet. Sorry, can you see my site plan for this? I feel like a visual is better. Oh, there we go. Okay. Is this Sharon? Perfect. Yep, this one is 81 feet from the eastern property line, 11 feet from the western property line, and 6 feet from the southern side, which is all aligned with what we need for accessory structures. The proposed floor area is 700 feet and includes a kitchen, living room area, bathroom, and bedroom. Does also include a porch area that's 160 square feet. The proposed structure will also have all of the same materials as the primary structure, which include hardy plank, a brick skirt, and is consistent with the neighborhood characteristics. In addition to meet all of our zoning ordinance, we have confirmed with the applicant that they will be renting to a family member and won't be using it as a rental, and there is no planned absences other than bona fide absences. Additionally, there will be a document recorded with the mortgage saying that this associated apartment or this accessory apartment is associated with a special use permit. Staff recommends approval for this one, subject to all conditions.
Thanks. Are there any questions for staff?
When you say absences, tell me what you mean by that.
So to ensure that it won't be used as a rental, there's usually like qualified absences like vacation or stuff
okay.
like that.
I understand.
That would allow for the primary homeowner to not be there.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yep.
On the previous application, Mr. Donovan mentioned that the orientation of the entrance to the unit relative to the garage was to try to mask its. To you clarify that relative to this, and I guess it's a little, maybe is it different because there's not a garage associated with it?
So it's not, and I'm going to answer this. I've also been working with the applicant. Mark, if you can go up to the elevations for me. And so we're working with the applicant here. If you see here, the front elevation does show the porch on. We brought that up to them in discussions, and they have shown the plot plan on the side. They are moving that entrance to the side so that there is no front entrance facing. It has the similar requirement. We've done it. They weren't able to get us updated elevations in time, but the plot plan shows it. It is also one of the conditions that would be of approval for this, for that entrance to face the sign. They're reorienting the porch, so all that you'll have facing the road on this side, on the what'll be front towards the road, will be windows. There's no difference whether it's, you know, whether it's internal to the home for an accessory apartment or exterior. They're both supposed to be oriented so that it's not blatantly obvious you have two units on site.
Got it, thank you.
And if you, is this what's represented, I think it's on page 40? Looks like you're currently on 34. It looks like that, at least on this, the property the porch is represented on being away from the main road. Is that the 8x20 porch that is reflective of that?
Correct.
change?
Yep, yeah, they were able to get the revised plot plan in time, but the architectural set didn't make this application.
And is there any consideration or requirement to add any separate path of access to this? I don't know what the land is between here, if it's grass or if it's, I don't know what that is.
And Mark, can you read through your recommended conditions of approval? I should have had you do that.
So the first of it was that the proposed structure complies with our bulk standard and traffic conditions would remain unaffected by the structure. In addition, the structure will, the structure will not be used as a rental. And the third one is absences. So the fourth condition, for the setbacks, we oriented it to where the driveway would connect to the primary home, but would also be within feet away of the accessory structure. So that way they have like kind of a walking path that takes you straight to the front entrance of the accessory structure.
Yeah, and looking here, we may have inadvertently left that off. I know we had some discussion. I don't think the applicant would be opposed to having a pathway to do the same if the board wants it to be added on there. That's an oversight on our part.
And the only other question I have is, I did notice that the recommended conditions puts a prohibition on renting either unit, not just this rear accessory. Was that consistent with their HOA codes, or was that just an agreement as part of this process? Because I'm unaware of why the main unit wouldn't be subject to rent other than just if it's part of this agreement. Does that make sense?
So part of the accessory apartment requirements, and this is in that restriction of land use document that staff recommends, is that one of the units on site has to be occupied by the owner. Even if the owner was living in the accessory apartment, my understanding, and Mr. Tully, correct me if I'm wrong, the way those are worded, a family member would still have to be living in the primary. So it would not permit them to rent them to a third-party, non-family member.
Yeah, that comes from the zoning ordinance, the requirements for an accessory apartment. Essentially, you cannot rent out.
Yeah, I just noticed it was on
residence.
both, and so I just wanted to see if that's standard.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great.
All right, any further questions for staff? Thank you. Anything with the applicant would like to add to this application? Anything you'd like to add to what's been presented so far?
No.
Okay.
There's no renting, it's just for my parents.
Okay.
Just relocating for their health, so.
Okay.
No one's renting anything, so.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean for my questions to insinuate that it was.
No, well,
If you wouldn't mind, would you mind coming up to the podium for us?
Oh, sorry.
Would you mind coming up to the podium for us if you can present some comments? Sorry about that. Just make sure we get all the comments
Yeah, so
recorded.
there's no renting. It's just for her parents. They're getting poor health, so they're going to move
Sure.
in there. But there's no exchange of money or renting.
Okay.
And we do plan to do the sidewalk connecting from the driveway to the patio for the entrance, but it just didn't show up in the plans here.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks for that clarification. All right, at this time, we'll conduct a public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to all staff comments and the conditions therein.
A second.
If I could just clarify, does the board wish to include a formal condition about that pathway, or is the applicant's representation sufficient?
What would be your recommendation on that?
I'm not sure that we normally require a pathway between the apartment and the residence. Richard, do we?
So it varies based on how each one is set up. In this case, with the applicant agreeing to do it, I would say that's sufficient. We'll add it as a condition.
And I'd imagine if these folks are having health issues, y'all are probably gonna want
Right.
to have something, that you're gonna want to set up an access for them anyway, so I would recommend that, but I'm not trying to do that to be burdensome to these folks. I just think it's probably consistent with your recommendations.
All right, we have a motion and a second with the added condition that the pathway will be included. Any further discussion on that motion? If not, if you'll call the roll for us.
Mr. Batchelor?
Aye.
Mr. Kimberly?
Aye.
Vice Chair Halliburton?
Aye.
Chair Young?
Aye. All right, that application's been approved. Appreciate everyone's help on that. Next, we'll move to staff reports and other business. I have a training update for us.
Yeah, Chair, and before we talk about the training update, I just want to make the rest of the board aware of the reason that the chair skipped over 5C, is you all have a withdrawal letter there in front of you. That applicant reached out this morning and wanted to withdraw their application. They've decided to do something else, and that's the application at 2618 Albany Court.
Sorry about
Just
that.
before we discuss training there. Also, so as far as training, each of you should have a printout in front of you that shows your hours of training. Mr. Blomley prepared and gave those to me. We're required to have, for Planning Commission and BZA, 4 hours of training per year. So, we need to make sure that we move toward that. I know Mr. Blomley sends out opportunities from time to time. Also, since we're discussing it here, I'm going to go ahead and plug one that I expect to happen in the first or second quarter of 2025. This board may not be aware of it, but right now I'm the city's acting floodplain administrator, and you are the city's floodplain appeals board.
We've had one or two of those through the years.
The State Floodplain Association had a webinar recently. Our NFIP coordinator with TEMA is going to be putting together a training for variances in the floodplain. When that comes out, we're going to make sure that gets pushed out to this board specifically. I would highly encourage it. Of many of my responsibilities here, the floodplain administration probably gives me the most heartburn. So having this body trained on variances from that aspect would make me really happy, but we'll push that out when it comes. It'll be online, so they're talking about doing it as a webinar. So it'll be something that you can, likely if we have to do it live, you would be able to do remotely. And there are several people pushing to get them to record it so that we can distribute it to be watched at off hours as well. Mr. Blomley, is there anything you want to add to that? All right, Chair Young, that's all I have.
All right, if there's no other business, we'll adjourn.